Hello and welcome to the Cup Experience, our pre-race show covering all the details of the 36th America's Cup. And the racing officially begins tonight for the competition live in Auckland, New Zealand. Hi, I'm Tucker Thompson, broadcasting here from the U.S., and I'm joined by my co-host, America's Cup expert Jack Griffin, and he's up late at night in Switzerland. He's with CupExperience.com. Jack, it's great to be with you.
Hey, Tucker. It's going to be an exciting day to see this racing kick off, man.
I know, I agree, and I know all the fans are excited. It's been a long time coming, and we'd like to thank all of you for watching. And we're going to be producing a pre-race show like this before every official race day of the 36th America's Cup. And while we're produced here in the U.S., of course, we're going to highlight New York Yacht Club American Magic, but it should be noted that we're not officially related to the team or the New York Yacht Club, but we certainly support them, and we will throughout the competition. Now, we're going to begin with a thank you to the sponsors who make our show possible. It's called the Sponsors 60, and we begin with Mount Gay Rum, the Sailor's Rum, the official rum of American Magic. Visit mountgayrum.com to learn about all the different rums, and go to drizzly.com to have some sent right to you. Remember, Drizzly. We're going to be posting a special Mount Gay Rum mixing video from Barbados that we did last week, as part of our Cup Experience, so check in for that soon. Also want to thank SeaDeck Adhesive Foam Decking. It's awesome. It literally will transform the deck of your boat. It did for mine, and of course it did for American Magic as well. Special thanks to Akzo Nobel and All Grip Fast Finishes. American Magic is finished with the All Grip Next Generation Top Coat called HDT, and clearly it's fast. And we'd like to thank Rubba and Birking Silver and their special American Magic collection, including cocktail tumblers, bottle coasters, serving trays, all with the American Magic logo. It's limited edition, so make sure you can order some during this America's Cup. Jack has more information about that, and you can find it on americanmagic.cupexperience.com. And then finally, we'd like to thank Pellini Authentic Italian Coffee, the official coffee supplier of New York Yacht Club American Magic, with its Pellini Top 100% Arabica Espresso. It's unique, it's unmistakable, it's certainly delicious. Pellini Coffee, keeping American Magic energized, and you can find it online at Amazon.com. And Jack, I think this is time for us to start out a new tradition here in our show, a toast with Pellini coffee for you late at night in Switzerland, and a bit of Mount Gay rum, which I have here in the U.S. to get our show started. So, cheers.
Cheers, Tucker. Cheers, Tucker.
Here we go. All right. Cheers to all of you in the U.S. If it's cocktail hour, we certainly hope you're enjoying this. And now let's get right into it. The Prada Cup, the 36th edition of the America's Cup, officially begins tonight live in Auckland, New Zealand. It's the start of the Prada Cup Challenger Selection Series. And Jack, let's take a look at the three challenging teams, beginning with the American team, New York Yacht Club American Magic, the longest standing club in this competition, dating all the way back to 1851, 170 years ago. They held onto the cup for 132 years until the Australians took it in 1983. They've been trying to win it back with three different challenges since, and it hasn't come back to the New York Yacht Club. The last time, coincidentally, was in New Zealand in 2003, and now they're back after 18 years with perhaps their best shot at winning it. They've got a 16-time world champion, two-time College Sailor of the Year, two-time Rolex Yachtsman of the Year in his fifth America's Cup. Terry Hutchinson is in charge of the team, the skipper and executive director. And if anyone can lead this team to victory, I think it is him. And Jack, let's talk about their boat. I have to believe this is the best-looking treatment of the AC-75 rule. I know I'm biased, but that is an awesome-looking hull. What do you make of it?
Yeah, this thing looks fast. It looks aerodynamically slippery. They've done a great job with the design. They certainly were fast in the America's Cup World Series. Let's see how they go here.
Some of the notable things about this boat, the skeg, you mentioned, I like the way the bow kind of flares and stuff. There's volume there in case they do a bit of a nosedive. It's certainly very aerodynamic. But what do you make of their sail plan and specifically their boom? It's probably the only thing I don't particularly like about American Magic is that their boom is the least aerodynamic looking part of the boat.
Yep, that's true. But remember, we're early days here, so they have plenty of time to continue to develop the boat, and we may be seeing some changes there, because that's part of the game. What you race today is not going to win the America's Cup in March, so they will continue developing.
Right through to the last race, as we've seen in previous editions of the Cup, of course. And the duo of Dean Barker at the helm and Terry Hutchinson calling tactics, and the speed circle with Paul Goodison and the main trimmer, Andrew Campbell, flying the boat. This is one of the most well-rounded teams for sure. Now, moving to Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli, the official challenger of record. Patrizio Bertelli of Prada fame is behind the team, now in his 6th America's Cup. That's a record, eclipsing Sir Thomas Lipton's 5 challenges with Shamrock. And I should point out that the Italians have made it all the way to the Cup finals, but have not won it yet. Could this be their year? Jack, tell us about the boat. It's sponsored by Prada. It has to look good.
Well, no question about that. They look good. Their uniforms look good. But the boat, it's really interesting. They had the fastest, by most people's judgment, the fastest boat won. All of the other teams made their second boat look more like the Prada boat, with that skeg running the length of the hull underneath. Prada made the smallest number of changes to their boat too, and they're looking sharp. They're looking really good.
I certainly agree. And one unique thing about their treatment of the sail plan, Jack, where are the backstays?
Good question. They looking. You're always looking for a loophole in the rule. You want to try to find a way to get a bit of advantage, reduce windage. They removed the backstays, but now they've got to put them back on. Got to follow the rule. We'll see how they go. But everybody's always looking for an edge. That was the one they tried for.
Well, another edge that this team has, as you know, and it's revolutionary, is a dual helm system. They've got Francesco Bruni permanently steering on the port side, and America's Cup winner Jamie Spithill permanently steering on the starboard side. Yet to be seen if that is going to be an advantage. It's certainly going to be efficient for them in the maneuvers. The only downside probably, Jack, would be in the tactics, particularly in the pre-start, where they might not see the other team when they come through a maneuver like a tack or a lee bow. But let's switch finally to the British team, Ineos Team UK. If you're a British fan, I have to apologize for 2 reasons. Number one, after 22 challenges, I believe 22, trying to win the America's Cup since they hosted the first event off Cowes in 1851, they've never won it. Now, the good news for them, Sir Ben Ainslie, is the most successful Olympic sailor of all time, and he is at the helm. This is his second campaign that he's been leading. Jim Radcliffe of Ineos is funding the team, and that's the good news. They've got great sailors, great designers, but Jack, this is their first hull, and I don't know how to say this nicely. That's got to be
ugly.
The ugly duckling award of the fleet. Now, that's their first hull, so we'll talk about how they treated the second boat. But Ben Ainslie knows a thing or two about winning, and perhaps he's onto something. That is a look at their second hull, Britannia 2. What do you make of the shape of it, Jack?
This thing is different from every other boat. Look at how they've made the skeg really wide. It runs the whole length of the boat, and towards the stern, they have this bustle thing, a wider round shape there that supposedly will help them get back up on recovering from splashdowns. In this video, you can see them, they're having trouble with ride height. They're going up and down. And now, as they're foiling along here, we get a good look at some of the shapes of their wings. Their wings are different from all of the other boats. You can see that's called anhedral when they go down. This boat is very, very, very different from all the other teams.
I think different is definitely the word. Now, everybody wondered how these teams would perform, and we got a chance to see that last month. It was unofficial racing, but it was the first chance all 4 teams, including the defender, got to sail against each other in the America's Cup World Series. Here's a look at how it went down.
It might have been just 4 days, but the Prada America's Cup World Series and the Christmas Cup were special. The first ever events raced in the new AC75s. The only chance for the defenders to race against the challengers, and an invaluable opportunity for all as they started the road to the 36th America's Cup. Lack of wind on the final day meant that despite an attempt at running it, the Christmas Cup sadly had to be cancelled. So, after 3 days of racing and with the America's Cup World Series to their name, it was Emirates Team New Zealand that were the team to beat. The defenders had set the bar. So how did they achieve their victory? Their winning streak was consistent. They beat Ineos Team UK in both of their matches, easily. They did the same to Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli, although in the second race it was close, just 16 seconds. But the one team they didn't dominate was American Magic, who pushed back on the first day to score a win. They nearly did the same in their second match, but tripped up in a poorly executed tack that lost them the lead. At times they had other problems too, including a near capsize. But by the end of the America's Cup World Series, it was clear that among the challengers and on points, this is the top team. A team that can perform over a much wider range of wind conditions than perhaps even they expected.
Gonna come back this side, buddy. I'm good down there.
Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli came close. In their second race against the Kiwis, they were very close. This was also the last of the series and the one that would decide the overall trophy. But what we also know is that the home team isn't perfect. A wheelie, falling off their foils, nearly hitting a mark, a move that could have destroyed their boat, and being pushed out at the start. This series showed the challengers that the defender has weak points as well.
4, 3, 2.
On this score and at the other end of the points table, Ineos Team UK were in big trouble. First, control problems hampered their performance, then a breakdown. And then the confirmation that in light winds at least, their boat was reluctant to fly. With no points on the board, they have the biggest mountain to climb if they are to get on the pace in time for the Challenger Series, the Prada Cup that starts on January the 15th.
Well, that was Matt Sheehan, and you heard him say it at the end there. You know, they finished at the bottom of the track, and they didn't just have a few things go wrong, Jack. If I'm Jim Radcliffe and I wrote such a huge check to support this team, I'd be pretty mad because they got just about almost everything wrong, didn't they?
They had all sorts of problems. You know, in this racing, we saw how hard these boats are to sail. We saw how complex they are, all the problems that Ineos had. But you know what? The big question that got answered for me was, are these boats good for racing? And boy, are they good for racing. We had lead changes. We had close mark roundings. We had battles in the pre-start. Unfortunately for Ineos, we also had a lot of mechanical problems and crew errors. Let's see how we go getting into the next set of racing. But Ineos, yeah, back to your point, Tucker. If I'm the guy writing the check, man, I tell you, I've got some big questions for my team. Hey, guys, the heat is turned up. Make this boat go faster, win some races.
Right. Well, we'll see if, in fact, they can. And tonight, answers will certainly come one way or the other. Now, the next thing that was interesting is New York Yacht Club American Magic, to be fair, performed better than any of the other challengers, but even they weren't immune to mistakes. Jack, here's a look at them almost capsizing.
Yeah, you know, they were the only ones to take a race off of Team New Zealand, which was the form team. But in this race against Luna Rossa, they had a problem with their foil cant system, getting the board up in time. They lost control a little bit, almost went over, and it was a dramatic moment for them. It lost them the race. They were leading until that happened. But
and we also heard
how
rumor
hard
that they
these boats are to sail.
Yeah, they're very hard to sail. And these are the best sailors in the world. So if they can't harness these things and tame them, then certainly we know that they've got a lot on. And American Magic, they've had more time than any other team, and they're very polished. And even they had some issues with the foils in their tacks and stuff. And those answers will be, or questions rather, will be answered tonight to see if they sorted them out. In fact, the first race, Jack, is between American Magic and Ineos Team UK. Now let's move to Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli. A lot of people, Jack, question this new design, and they said, look, these boats are going to get too far apart. We're not going to see tactics and classic match racing, certainly not in the pre-start. Well, that wasn't the case, was it? Here's a look at Ineos Team UK and Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli in the pre-start.
This was my favorite moment of the whole America's Cup World Series. Look at this. Luna Rossa comes in. They throw a tack underneath Ineos. Then they luff them up. They put a penalty on Ineos. I did not expect to see anything like this in this racing. I figured they'd be doing timed runs, only staying away from each other. These guys went right in and mixed it up. This was on the first day of racing these things. Absolutely incredible. I love it.
We do too, and so do traditional match racing fans. So that means we're going to see even more as these teams get more comfortable pushing these boats in close quarters. Now, even Emirates Team New Zealand, the defender who ended up winning overall and is the form team still to beat, wasn't immune from some mistakes. Here's a shot of them launching up out of the water and crashing off of the foils. But really, what's even more entertaining and more interesting from a fan perspective, Jack, was just a day ago in training against Ineos Team UK. They capsized. Here's a look.
Yeah, Emirates Team New Zealand capsized twice in Boat 1, but this is the first time they've gone over, first time anybody's gone over with their Boat 2. And this happened, as you said, in a practice race against Ineos. You can see the Ineos boat in the foreground here, Team New Zealand in the background. On board Ineos, we can hear the audio where they're saying, oh, they're going to capsize. And look at how they stuff the bow in, floop, over it goes. Here's Pete Burling. He hops out of the cockpit for the maneuver that they're going through a jibe. Pete has to cross over. While he's crossing over, Glenn Ashby is steering. Normally, Glenn is doing the mainsail trim. What's all this water that we're seeing here? This is the problem. Here's Burling will come around the front of the mast in this scene, just barely gets time to get into the cockpit where he'll be a little bit safer. And now watch them plow the bow. Watch them plow the bow in. Boom. Here they go. Burling was lucky he didn't get launched out of there. And here they are on the towboat, righting the thing, pulling it right back up, right side up, needing the boat, the tender, to pull them up, but nobody was hurt. Nothing was seriously damaged on board the boat. A real tribute to Dan Bernasconi and the design team at Emirates Team New Zealand for coming up with this concept. It works. It's great for racing, but baby, it's hard to sail, and any mistakes you make, you pay dearly.
Well, and I'm glad you pointed out no one got hurt. They had that boat upright in a matter of minutes, and they are designed to capsize and be righted and keep sailing again. So it was a big crash, but a safe one, and we're happy that all the Kiwis are okay. Now, that's a look at them from shot from Live Sail Die when they were flipped over. There's some great footage from them about it. But the big question we've alluded to a few times is why was Ineos Team UK, after all the budget, the designers, the sailing team, the leadership, the experience, why were they so far off the pace? And more importantly, Jack, what can they do tonight? What have they done, rather, to improve their performance? Well, Ben Ainsley in yesterday's press conference gave us a sneak peek of a few things that they've changed.
Well, look, since the World Series, we've got a new rudder, a new elevator, a new mast, a new mainsail, new headsails. We've put aero modifications to the hull, and we've changed the systems to the hull, so we've been quite busy.
Same crew?
Yeah, it's improved, and it needed to.
Well, we're going to see if the modifications that they've made pay off. They have two races tonight, one against American Magic, the next one against Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli for this first day of racing for the Prada Cup Challenger Selection Series. Jack, what's your prediction? What are we going to see tonight?
The bookies say that American Magic is the top challenger, and I believe that's right. But you know what? I'm keeping my wallet in my pocket. I'm not betting on any of this. I think we're going to see close racing, lots of surprises. American Magic is still probably going to come out on top at the end of the Prada Cup, but I'm not putting a lot of money on anybody. This is going to be right down to the wire, I think.
You know, a lot of people tend to agree with you, but one person who wouldn't listen to any of that is Terry Hutchinson. He's a good friend of mine, and he keeps his head down and focused no matter how things go on the water. We had a chance to catch up with him just a few days ago about the World Series racing and his thoughts looking forward to tonight's Prada Cup. Terry, thank you for taking the time out of what we all know is an extremely busy schedule for you guys. And I know everyone really watching appreciates it too. So out of respect for your time, we'll jump right into it. Terry, after your entire sailing career and now almost 3 years, as you mentioned, of training for this moment, how does it feel to finally be on the verge of official racing for real in New Zealand?
As you rightfully pointed out, we're at the business end of this regatta. And so, really in the last 6 months since we've gotten to New Zealand, it's been a lot about making sure that daily routines and each day is set up as such to go out on race day and execute as if it's any other day. And so, I think that was that component was on display during the World Series event. We as a team, we didn't incur any pre-start penalties for crossing the boundaries early, or any of those mental mistakes, and yet I think we sailed the boat at a reasonably high level, and it was for our first event. You take solace in the fact that there's a lot of gain rate in front of us, and with a bigger picture in mind, the goal is to win the America's Cup, and I think that regatta was a good start for us.
When you look at the other two challengers, what would you say are their individual strengths, and how will you guys approach each team in order to beat them?
Probably the British team is a bit of a wild card right now because they have the most gain rate, and so they're the most dangerous. They have their hull is really nice aerodynamically. It's a very competitive hull with Patriot, and it's a very good group of sailors and a very good team. And so they were criticized pretty heavily, but I think somebody like Ben, who's been as successful as he has, he's probably his strongest when he appears to be not in a great place. And so you have to treat them with the utmost respect because they're going to be good. The Italian platform is again a very refined boat from their boat one. They have great sailers in Jimmy and Francesco Bruni, and then the wealth of experience behind them makes it to be a very well thought out platform. And their strengths are probably a little bit more downrange versus Patriot, and so we have to mitigate the risk of a lot of interaction between the two boats. They have really big foils, so their foils are easily to maneuver on, and Patriot's foils are the smallest of the challengers and only slightly bigger than the Defender. And the idea there is that you can never make a slow foil fast, but you can learn how to sail on a fast foil. And so that's what we've been working on and experimenting with and developing. And I don't look at those teams and think, oh my Lord, we have our work cut out here. I look at them and I think all three of us are relatively even. And on any given day, if somebody sails better than the other one, then they're going to probably win the race. So it's a combination of developing the speed and then developing the consistency over the racing.
How do you think this boat stacks up against the other teams in terms of its strengths and its weaknesses?
Yeah, I think the boat's really good. I wouldn't take anybody else's. And yet, I know it has to get better. And so between the foils, the platform, and the aero, we have to continue to refine all areas of the boat. And we have, and like any regatta that you go to, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. So we just got to make sure we finish it strong.
Terry, we just want to say good luck. And I want to ask you in closing, is there anything that you want to say to all the fans that are watching all across America tonight?
Well, we certainly appreciate all the support of everybody back at home. Sincerely appreciate the letters and emails and text messages that the entire team received during the World Series event and leading up to the Prada Challenger Selection Series, and then hopefully the match. And we're not going to leave any stone unturned. So thank you for all that, and keep it coming.
So great of Terry to do that, and so great to hear his approach to the racing. He is one of the most humble, hardworking, heads down type of leaders and sailors you're ever going to see. And it's that type of approach, I think, that could, knock on wood, we hope, win this team the America's Cup. They're lucky to have him at the helm. So racing starts tonight, less than an hour from now. Day one, we'll have two races, American Magic against Ineos Team UK in race one. Ineos Team UK, then a doubleheader, goes up against Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli in race two. We'll see racing tomorrow and the next day. And then next weekend, 3 more days of racing to conclude 4 round robins where each team races against the other 4 times. And then the winner moves on to the Prada Cup final. The second and third place teams will then have a sail-off, and the winner of that will join the other team. Then we will have the Prada Cup finals. The winner of that, of course, goes on to face the defender, Emirates Team New Zealand in the Cup match itself in March. Here's a look at the race course tonight, Jack. What do we expect?
So they're going to be racing on race course C. The course is going to be about 1.8 miles long, 3-lap race. Should take about 25 minutes out there on course C for the races.
And course C was chosen, of course, because of tonight's weather conditions. Let's have a look.
Yep, I got to sit in on the briefing by Ian Murray, regatta director. He's expecting 11 to 12 knots out of the southwest. That's why he set up the race course that way. It's going to be high tide, so the tide won't affect the racing at all. The wind will build by about 1 knot for the second race. So perfect conditions today. Let's get out there and enjoy this. This is going to be very, very cool.
I can't wait, Jack, and I know everyone watching can't as well, and we'd like to thank everyone for joining us. So that's it for us. The first Cup Experience show, the Prada Cup, will begin tonight, and we're excited to see it. And I know you guys are as well. I hope you've enjoyed our first show. There's lots more to come. We're going to be broadcasting the Cup Experience before each scheduled race day from now through the end of the 36th America's Cup. Of course, we hope you join us for every single one. Tell your friends, share it, like it, and subscribe, of course, to the shows on Facebook and YouTube. You can also send us your questions and comments for future shows on Facebook, or email us and join our mailing list at tuckertlive@gmail.com. And for more information about the 36th America's Cup and to join Jack's newsletter, you can log on to cupexperience.com. Well, we'd like to thank all of you for watching, and of course, we would also like to join our American fans in wishing New York Yacht Club American Magic good luck in tonight's racing, of course, throughout the rest of the series, hopefully to the America's Cup match itself. We'd like to thank you once again. Jack Griffin, thank you over in Switzerland. It's late, I know, and also our producer-director, Mason Sheen. Great job. I'm Tucker Thompson. Thanks for watching the Cup Experience.